So in my last video, I discussed that there is this intense anti-American sentiment rising here in South Korea over the U.S. tariff negotiations. And that is because the U.S. is demanding $350 billion in cash upfront. And I also told you that this has sparked a huge fear that it could trigger another foreign exchange crisis that is designed to let the U.S. cheaply and very conveniently acquire key Korean companies. As animosity was building, an explosive story broke just a few days ago suggesting that the US and Japan may have conspired to completely fleet South Korea. So it was 5 days ago. Japanese Minister of Economic Revitalization, Akizawa Ryosei, who led the tariff deal with the US, revealed that out of the $550 billion that they pledged, only 1 to 2% is actual cash equity, and the rest consists to loans and loan guarantees.
미일 관세 협상을 이끈 아카자와 료세의 일본 경제 재생상이 일본의 대미 투자금 5,500억 달러와 관련해 실제 투자금은 1~2%에 불과하다는 취지로 말한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
This is huge because it directly contradicts what Trump said.
As you know, in Japan it's 550 billion, South Korea is 350 billion now. That's up front.
So after the Japanese minister's confession, the Korean public erupted. People are now questioning why the US demanded all cash from Korea when Japan only paid 1 to 2% in cash. Some are even claiming that the US and Japan may have colluded to make it look like Japan paid everything in cash when it barely did, just to extort a massive payment from Korea. And
so this is from a Korean TV channel that is a little bit left-leaning. It's called MBC. So I'll show you some of the public's reaction. Let's see which one got the most likes. 일본과 짜고 한국 망하게 하려는 미국. The U.S. and Japan allegedly colluded to undermine South Korea. 단돈 1원이라도 손해보는 협상하면 절대 안 된다. We must not accept any deal that costs us even a single one. This one got a lot of likes too. 시작. They'll pretend to offer a currency swap while completely ignoring us and we'll get backstabbed. 절대로 3,500억 불은 주면 안 된다. We must not give them the $350 billion. 그냥 관세 받고 버티자. Let's just take the tariffs and hold out. 무한대 통화 수업 해줘도 3,500억 달러 못 준다. Even with an unlimited currency swap, we are not giving them the $350 billion. It's been revealed that Japan and the US were colluding to push our country into the foreign currency crisis. 투자는 무슨 투자야? Why would we invest? 저런 게 무슨 한미 동맹이냐? What kind of alliance is that?
I don't necessarily agree with that, but still, it's truly hard to understand why the US is treating us this way. And it's also very confusing to figure out who's telling the truth because the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Trump, who are on the same team, are telling different stories. So listen to Howard Lutnick after the Japan deal.
The Prime Minister, Ishiba, says these are loan guarantees. Is it more than that?
Of course it's more than that. It's equity, loans, and loan guarantees.
He talks about capital call with a fund made up of equity, loans, and loan guarantees. Then listen to Trump. He keeps talking about upfront.
As you know, in Japan it's 550 billion, South Korea is 350 billion now. That's up front.
And adding to that confusion, our own presidential policy director, Kim Yong-bom, said the initial draft only required 5% cash of $350 billion, but it was suddenly changed to almost all cash in August. And I think that sudden change is very credible because a recent Wall Street Journal article pointed out that that the US reportedly demanded higher cash levels So I think it's clear that the US pushed hard for our cash. Then why did the Japanese minister Akazawa reveal this? I think he likely made that revelation because Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, faced massive criticism for striking what appeared to be a bad deal. So to protect his party's candidate in the new prime minister election, he needed to say it's not upfront. It's totally different from what the Trump administration is claiming. So I think it's just a defensive move. So he needed to protect his party after being blasted for pledging what seemed like a huge amount, which actually involved only 1 to 2% in cash. But the US has been using the Japan deal as leverage, basically to pressure South Korea and squeeze out as much cash as possible.
To the point on Hyundai, so is the Korea trade deal in jeopardy now?
Well, the Koreans didn't sign when the president was in, right? The president came in, you remember that? He came to the White House. Notice how we didn't talk about trade? Because he didn't sign the piece of paper. I mean, the devil is in the details always. Well, I think they saw the Japanese now, so there's no flexibility, right? The Japanese signed the contract. The Koreans either accept that deal or pay the tariffs, black and white. Pay the tariffs or accept the deal.
But has the
And I remember Trump bringing up South Korea during Charlie Kirk's memorial service.
Charlie would have been so pleased to hear his friends and colleagues today giving testimony. And in Seoul, South Korea, crowds gathered to wave American flags and shout, "We are for Charlie Kirk."
He saw those rallies where people waving American flags on the streets and thought Korea is politically so divided and too weak to push back and our president wouldn't last long. But if that was Trump's calculation, that is totally wrong, because our current president Lee Jae-myung is from the Democratic Party, which is less aligned with Washington compared to the conservatives. So I'm not talking about he's doing the right thing. I'm just talking about I don't think he would listen to Mr. Trump. So also on our Armed Forces Day, he even declared a commitment to self-reliant defense and vowed to expand Korea's defense industry.
북한 GDP의 1.4배에 달하는 국방비를 지출하는 세계 5위 군사력을 갖춘 우리 국방력에 대한 높은 자부심과 굳건한 믿음의 기초에 강력한 자주 국방의 길로 나아가야 합니다. 굳건한 한미 동맹 기반 위에 전시 작전 통제권을 회복하여 대한민국이 한미 연합 방위 태세를 주도해 나가도록 하겠습니다.
While peacetime operational control was transitioned to Seoul in 1994, wartime control remains with Washington.
And public opinion has changed a lot too. So people used to panic at the idea of a US troop withdrawal, but now many people are saying if the US leaves, we can use the money that we used to give to the US to develop our own weapons and for our own soldiers. So this government seems very confident. Maybe that is because US right now needs us, because the US wants to revitalize their manufacturing industry, and when it comes to semiconductor, shipbuilding, and defense, it seems like there's no other country that can do what we do. So in a nutshell, the US attempt to extract maximum cash from Korea has become the very catalyst accelerating Korea's shift to full independent defense. It looks like we'll have to keep watching it until they're over. So that's all for today. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you have any topics you want me to cover, whether it's K-pop, politics, let me know, and I'll keep bringing stories that connect the dots behind headlines. So please subscribe and hit the notification bell. See you in the next one. Bye bye.